Clem, he's up against a sea of Protoss. We'll see if he can pop off. As spawning in the bottom right corner of Ultra Love, we have the French Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player, the ex-military Protoss. It is Zoun. And again, this is a rematch. Zoun and Clem, they have started a bit of a rivalry as of late. For those that maybe have missed out on previous OlimoLeagues or even previous Wardy TV Mondays, both Zoun and Clem, they've been facing off week after week after week. I say that not as frequently, but maybe over the past 2 months, maybe like 5 times or so, like 4 to 5 times, often enough to actually have a bit of a pattern here when it comes to these two competing against each other, and they often go back and forth. They often do go back and forth. They trade blows. I think it was in the last OlimoLeague that we had a best of 5 finals between Zoun and Clem. It went all the way to the ace match as well. Actually, no, if I remember correctly, we had Zoun versus Clem in the semis where Zoun won. Zoun actually defeated Clem. He knocked Clem out of the tournament, and then Hero won in the finals. That's it. Hero, he was like, phew, thank God you dealt with him. And then Hero beat Zoun in the finals, and Hero became our champion. But yeah, Zoun, he has been able to bring it to Clem. Can he do it again? Clem, I would say, is still the favorite player, even though we've seen Zoun defeat Clem a couple of times in best of 3s and best of 5s. Even though it's happened, I would still say that Clem is still favored, and it's still like an uphill battle for Zoun. We'll see if he can do it again. We'll see if he can defeat Clem once again. Oh boy. As for now, Clem going for an economic opener, ranks expand. Gonna be zoning Zoun away. Zoun setting up for his own tech, just going for his own expansion. Standard opener out of Zoun, nothing crazy for the time being. Clem playing it safe, bunkers on the way. This is to make sure that the CC is not delayed, that his natural is not harassed. It's a very safe setup here. And behind this, if you didn't notice, Clem, he also pulled a bit of a Cure. Cure is very fond of this, and I mean, they go hand in hand, Cure and Clem, when it comes to our Team Liquid Terran boys. No SCV Scout. No SCV Scout, no Reaper Scout either. No scouting whatsoever. Clem just focusing on his own build, on his own setup. This is also why, like, the bunker is ideal here, just to be safe, because you don't really know what's going on. Just to be secure. Behind this, Stargate opener by Zoun. Bold move. In general, Stargate play is considered to be unsafe, especially on some of these smaller maps, referring to Whispers of Gold, El Dorado, Ley Lines, and Ultra Love. So I'm a little bit surprised to see this here out of Zoun. We'll see if you can get away with it. You do leave yourself vulnerable. When it comes to Stargate openers, it does mean that your gateway army and your ground army is going to be a little bit more delayed when it comes to how it builds up. Because of that, you are vulnerable to early game aggression. Of course, Clem doesn't know. Like, Clem, he sees nothing, he knows nothing. So far, Zoun is going to go unscouted. And Clem is getting to his 1-1-1, and Clem will be checking across the map with not just the mine drop, but also with the Hellion as well. That is the purpose of the Hellion and the Water Mine drop, is to get some information as to what's happening. But again, it's going to be a later scout, because this is more delayed than a Reaper scout, which means it's going to take a little bit longer for Clem to react and to respond to the Stargate play, which is why I actually really like Zoun's position here initially. SCV ready. I do like his position, as Clem is unaware that he could try to abuse this. Clem is rotating, drop is moving out. Ooh, a more committed drop though. Widowmine alongside the Marines. There's a lot of potential for damage. Clem, he can pop off. Boosting towards the main. There are Phoenix in position. Adepts as well. Adepts at the natural. And Phoenix is a zone away. So far, so good. The drop is zoned. A lot of damage into the medevac. And Clem's drop is denied. But at least he knows. Now he knows what's going on. Needs that anti-air. Widowmine gets lifted. Ooh, and Dustfall. Nice pick up here by Zoun. Shuts down the Widowmine, forces back the drop. Back at home, defends, looks to expand, building up more Phoenixes and going Phoenix into Robo. This looks like the beginning of Phoenix Colossus. Back at home, Clem forced to make anti-air, Vikings and Cyclone production. Again, typically we wouldn't really invest into these units, but this is a requirement because of the Phoenixes. So he needs as much anti-air as possible to defend his bases. And we'll see if he can secure himself. He should be able to. Get into his 3-1-1 setup. Phoenixes are moving out. Ooh, and as they move out, Clem, he pushes right down mid. And there's no scouting unit here in position. The observer is now coming in towards the center of the map. Ooh, but he will miss the move out. He misses the main army. And Clem is pushing. And we spoke about this, about how early on in TvP, because of the Stargate opener, there's actually not much on the ground here for Zoun. There's not much on the ground. Phoenix gets caught out. Massive pickoff. And the pylon's under fire. Pylon is under fire. Zoun, he's racing back. Tank volley going off. And Clem, he will get the pylon. Potentially the Cybercore as well. Cybercore taking a lot of hits. Zoun trying to catch reinforcements. Yeah, he will lose this. He will lose this setup here. And again, the Phoenixes, they just cannot engage with this army. Whereas a Blink-based opener and Stalkers could have slowed this down, would have been more active in the center, and can go for the dive here. But not Phoenixes. Getting a couple of SCVs, 6 SCVs going down. Clem, he rotates. Does rotate over. At least Zoun got some counter damage as he races back home. Clem pulls away. We'll pull back. What's important here is that Clem, he dealt some good damage. He killed a Gateway, Cybercore, a Pylon. He caught a Phoenix, and he didn't really lose much. He races back home before he gets overwhelmed as charge is on the horizon and mortal count is building up. Clem playing it safe. Plays it safe. Takes down one, takes down all 2 Phoenixes. Ay, ay, ay. The Phoenix count is being thinned out. Getting very low. Clem is still building up his bio. Third TC's on the way, not going for a 2-base all-in. And now we have the Bay on the way. Again, it feels like the Colossus production has been delayed because of the aggression. Observer does spot the move out this time, but can Zoun stop it? Now, he will have charge. Thankfully, charge is finishing up in a couple of seconds. So charge will be done this time. But is it going to be enough? Clemens moving in. Wedging himself in between the bases. Phoenix, they go for the dive. Up! Trying to force friendly fire. But they won't be able to. Yeah, nice control here by Clem. He pulls away the Marines. The Vikings, they land. And Zoun is going to be overwhelmed. There's nothing left. He's down to 2 Immortals and no support. We step in. Immortal goes down. GG gets called. And Clem will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Clem will take a lead in the series. And again, even though it was a late scout of what was going on, the response was so fast. If you remember, once Clem realized it was a Stargate opener, what did he do? He unsieged the tanks, pushed out across the map. He just pushed out right through the center of the map, and it was just really unfortunate that Zoun missed it. If you remember, his Phoenixes were skirting around the right-hand side of the map, and he did have an observer pushing through the center, but like center left, like it was barely on the left-hand side. He barely did miss the move out. He didn't see the army until it was already knocking down his front door. And once Clem got set up, Zoun could not engage, could not touch the army. If you remember, he was trying to catch reinforcements to the Phoenixes. There were no reinforcements. Clem, he was secure back at home. And GG. GG, well played. Clem, he just snowballed from there. And again, showing just how risky it can be opening Phoenix. Not saying you can't get away with it. You can get away with it, but it can be more difficult. Like, the consensus is that it is a little bit more of a difficult build to get away with. Especially on smaller maps. Easier on larger maps. And here we go. Speaking of larger maps, we're going to be loading into Frostline. Let's go. We're loading into Frostline, and spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the French Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Clem. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. The pressure is on as he is down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Zoun. Go. So we are going to be settling in. And we'll see how Zoun opens up this time. On the one hand, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Stargate opener on Frostline. I think that's... it's hard to say. It's a large map, but Frostline is one of the more vulnerable maps, right? It's not Abyssal, it's not Neon Violet Square, it's not King's Cove, so it's not ideal. I also don't really like the idea of going for a Stargate opener 2 games in a row. Clem, he's a little more kind of like in tune with that sort of thing. He's already aware, he's already prepared mentally, so I'm not too fond of that idea. We'll see if Zoun does commit to Stargate again or goes for something different. Meanwhile, double gas. Double gas opener. What does that mean? Delayed CC, faster factory. So Clem is going for a much more aggressive opener. Zoun will confirm. Does confirm the gases. And it's going to be on Zoun to recall if he wants to save this probe, as the probe is locked in. The probe is trapped. Reaper's on the way. Zoun, he's trying to delay mining time for as long as possible, try to force some inefficient mining. Gets eyes on the factory, and it looks like the probe... There we go. There's a recall. We'll save it. Whew. Does save the probe. Meanwhile, back at home, we have our initial setup. Gateway, Cyber into expansion. Stalker's on the way. And we will soon be embracing our tech of choice. Until then, Clem moves out. Remember, with the double gas opener, it means a faster, or it means a Reaper opener, which we did not see last game, so something very different here out of Clem. Moving out with the Reaper. Reactor's on the way. Do we go Reactor, Reaper, Hellion? That is an option. That is an option for Clem. Starport's on the way. Ooh, okay, it's not going to be Hellion, going to be Widow Mine. So setting up for initially a mine drop. Now this can lead into a tech lab on the factory thereafter and go into like faster tank into tank drop. Something more aggressive. We'll keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, 2 games in a row. Stargate. Stargate out of Zoun. Bold move. Bold move going Stargate 2 games in a row. We'll see if he can get away with it this time. Reaper does not knock himself into the main. As the initial Widowmine has arrived, Hellion's behind this. Medevac is on the way. Now, the Hellion follow-up is a surprise to me. Usually we'd see an add-on here, and we wouldn't really invest into much more to harass. There we go, we have the tech lab on the way. Clem being much more active. Moving out with that Hellion. Getting ready for the drop. And we'll see if Zoun can keep up. As we're moving out with everything. So it's going to be Widowmine Marine from the right-hand side and Reaper Hellion towards the left. And the goal here is to bust into these mineral lines and to get some economic damage. We'll see what he can do. Meanwhile, there's that add-on swap. Tech Lab on the Starport. Initially on the factory, going for Banshee. Okay. So the aggression continues. And again, we expected something aggressive like this because of the double gas opener. It is going to be Banshee. Chop setting up towards the towards the main. Now, what's scary here is that Clem didn't see. He doesn't know that there are Phoenixes waiting for him. He is unaware. Does drop in. Phoenixes are revealed. Widowmine does burrow. And probes are going down. Getting 1 probe so far. And does deny mining. Yeah, there's no mining here in the main. Ground Army has to respond. Show some mine shot. Up. Mine shot going up here on the Phoenix. Ooh, takes down the first Phoenix. Not bad. Going for the second. Up. Ooh, gets 2 Phoenixes. Yeah, brutal pickups from here. The medevac will escape. Here comes Reaper Hellion. Is cleaned up at the natural. Good defense here by Zoun. So far, good defense. Takes down the medevac. Zoun holds. Now, my concern is no detection. Now, we saw the extreme version of this in the PvP earlier between Hero and Classic, where Classic went proxy DT, DTs waddled in, and they just ended the game because there was 0 detection. We're seeing something similar. I say similar because even though there's no detection, there is access to an Oracle. So an Oracle can be chronoed. But the Banshee has arrived, probes are going down, and this is already getting out of hand. Yeah, Zoun has to commit. There's that cloak. And we need that. I was going to say we need the Oracle, but already too much damage here, as we already had a Banshee across the map as well. And this is actually just like the previous PvP, where DT's the Invisible Man ended the game. Here, the Invisible Flying Machine ends the game as well. GG. Just invisible units in general here. DTs from Classic, here Banshees from Clem. Congratulations, Clem will claim the series 2-0. Zoun getting caught with his pants down, and that leads us here into game, or that leads us into the upper bracket round 3. GG. GG, well played. Switching our scenes over here, catching up on the brackets. We have updates. We have those updates here. Again, unfortunately, just 0 detection from Zoun, and alas, he was already moving out across the map. He was not in position to defend, had nothing to do with it. Classic takes down Hero, Clem takes down Zoun, and we have a Classic versus Clem in the upper bracket finals. They're going to be facing off in, I believe, a best of 5 tomorrow. Best of luck. Best of luck here to both Clem and to Classic. Meanwhile, Hero and Zoun, they're knocked down to the lower brackets. Oh boy, they're knocked down to the lower bracket here, where we actually have our next set of players. We have 2 more best of 3s. 2 more best of 3s ahead of us here. It's going to be the mirror matchup to find out who is the one lone Zerg player to advance on into the next round. We have Rogue versus Shin coming up next in the ZVZ, and we'll be ending the night with Cure versus Creator in the TvP.